Well, hello there. Billy Angel here, your storyteller. And as always, I have a great story for you today. David has been on the run from King Saul for months. I mean, he's gone from cave to cave, from wilderness to wilderness. It's like he's running out of places to hide. Saul is coming after him with more and more soldiers. It started off with 500, now it's 3,000. And just another little complication, there's other men on the run from King Saul, and scripture tells us in a matter of weeks, 400 men have joined David hiding from King Saul. Well, how do you do that? Hiding with 400 people from the king who's after you with his entire army. And this group of 400 has actually grown to 600. There's been a few close calls where Saul nearly got hold of David. Now, this time around, it is a really difficult situation. Saul, with his 3,000 soldiers, is searching the whole area, the wilderness of Ziph, and he's slowly moving south while David and his men are going further south. David has got his spies out and they keep telling him, Saul is coming in. We got to move further south, go further south. He's gone into the wilderness of Maul. Trouble is, this wilderness, when it ends, runs into desert. I mean, just sand. You can't hide there. So David is literally running out of places to hide. There is one more place where he can go, and that is what's called the Great Rock. It's a mountain made of rock, a huge mountain, all rock. And David and his men have gone to the south side of that mountain, and they're hiding there from Saul's troops. Saul is closing in on the same mountain. He's on the north side and sending his soldiers both sides around that mountain while keeping some soldiers on the other side. David hears from his scouts, you got to get out, go down, go up. They're coming. David decides to go up. So they climb further up to the top of that mountain. There at the very top, there is like a stone plateau. It's all rock. And there, David and his 600 men are kind of hiding. Any moment now, one of Saul's spies are going to pop up and see the men up here. Oh man, that'd be terrible. Then 3,000 soldiers would be climbing up here, and these 600 men would have to fight with those soldiers. It'd be bloody, be awful. So David is praying hard, oh God, send us a cloud, a big thick cloud to cover us here so they won't see us. But the sky is pretty clear. Oh Lord God, send us a thunderstorm so the soldiers can't come any further up. None of the kind. But God sent a miracle. In that moment, all of a sudden, a man on horseback comes riding in. Message for the king. We're being attacked. The Philistines have brought their army into Judah. I mean, it's huge. They have taken entire villages. Please, you got to come right away. Oh, Saul is so annoyed. Oh, these Philistines, they know how to pick their time. We're this close from getting the son of Jesse. How about we keep 1,000 soldiers here, you go with the other soldiers, deal with the Philistines, leave me here. I'm this close from getting him. Sir, with respect, but you know when the Philistines come, they come in great numbers. We're going to need every soldier we got. Sir, please. And so, a few moments later, the orders are given. All the soldiers disappear, and in 20 minutes' time, they've all gone. The whole area is empty, quiet. David's men stand up here on the great rock, looking around. It's an amazing view. Whoa, that was close. That was so close. So David says, listen, if Saul is fighting the Philistines, that would give us at least a few days. So let me take you to a special place. En-Gedi is a wilderness, but there is also an oasis there. It is to the east, slightly to the north, right by the side of the Dead Sea. And so that's where they go. They go to this oasis. There's some huge waterfalls. There's a freshwater lake. I mean, there's lush trees, fruit trees, all kinds. They can hunt there. They can fish. They can have a wonderful day off for these men who've been on the run for months. And then, when the day's done, David takes them into the wilderness of En-Gedi, and something unusual happens. They stumble on a very large flock of sheep. I mean, thousands of sheep. David's father has sheep. David has been a shepherd for years, and you look after a few hundred sheep with 2 or 3 shepherds. But here, there's thousands of sheep and just a handful of shepherds. Clearly, these men have trouble controlling all these sheep. So David and his men get to talk to these shepherds. So, where are you guys from? What's going on? Well, we're from Carmel. Our boss is Nabal, and yes, these are his sheep. We've kind of wandered too far off to the east, and the festival of the sheep shearing is coming up. We got to bring these sheep back to Carmel. We're having trouble doing it, you can tell. So David offers them their help. They say, well, what's your price? David says, no price. We do it for free. And maybe your master will give us some provisions, whatever, it's up to him. Oh, well, excellent, please, please. So David asked for volunteers, and 40 of his men helped the shepherds to take these flocks back to Carmel. You see, sheep can just wander off if you don't control their movements. It could be that 100 sheep all of a sudden just sort of go this way and that, and all of a sudden they're gone. They've disappeared. You never see them again. You got to keep the sheep together, and that's an important piece of work. There's wild animals after the sheep. There's people trying to steal those sheep. But David's men make sure the whole flock of sheep is taken back to Carmel, where they need to be for the sheep shearing. In the meantime, David and his men explore this wilderness of En-Gedi, and they find themselves a suitable cave. Yes, fellas, it's going to be a cave again. Sorry. I know caves are dark. Caves are cold. It's not nice to be in a cave. We've run into a few wild animals in these caves. But hey, caves are excellent for hiding. And if it rains, you stay dry in the cave. So they go into the cave. They get a whole bunch of wood from the forest for firewood. They build a few fires in the cave. They set up camp. Everything is getting organized. The men from Carmel with the sheep, they are back. Then all of a sudden, scouts arrive. David, the king is on his way here. My, he's come back fast. Whoa, we never expected that. Why here? Well, he took a good guess, I suppose. Well, so David gives command, kill all the fires quickly. Everybody quiet, no movement. The king and his soldiers are near here. We need to find out where they are, where they're going. Well, as it turns out, the king is in the valley right by that cave. And the king decides to take a break. He says, let's call for a halt. They all understand what that means. They have a 20-minute break. All the foot soldiers can sit down, rest a little, have a bite to eat. They all have provisions on them, some water to drink. Men on their horses get off their horses. The horses are given some food and drink. Everybody can relax and rest. The king's servants bring out a folding chair and a folding table for the king, and put some nice thing on the table for the king to eat. So the king looks around. He needs to go to the bathroom. So he's kind of checking out the area, and he begins to walk to the side of the cave, looking around, maybe here, no, maybe a little further in. Oh, and there's a big opening of some kind. So the king walks in. He finds himself in a cave. Oh, all right, we got a cave here. So the king walks a few steps into the cave and then gets ready to go to the bathroom. Now, that is the very same cave David and his men are in. They're back here, standing in the dark. And they see, look, a man has just walked in. Then they begin to see, some of them see, hey, it's the king, it's Saul the king. Well, they all pull out their knives, their swords, their daggers, and all of them stand up, let's go kill him, let's go kill him. And David goes, no, wait, hang on. Now David's got his own knife, and he sneaks up to the king. The king is facing the other way. David picks up the king's mantle, cuts off a little corner and sneaks back. Disappears in the dark. All his men go like, why didn't you kill him? You could have killed him. No. The king has finished his business. He walks to the exit and he disappears. David's men go, hey, why didn't you kill him? You should have killed him. What's the matter with you? You could have just killed him. You didn't. What's going on? David says, I couldn't. He's the Lord's anointed. You can't kill God's anointed. What are you talking about? What's that to do with anything? You should have just killed him. He's trying to kill us. You just let him go. David said, no, can't do it. If you kill the God's anointed, you're going to have God against you. You'll be God's enemy. You know, it's not just that the prophet put a little oil on his head. No, this is something that stays with the man who's anointed. From God, if you kill him, you be God's enemy. Can't do it. Well, they don't understand. Then David suddenly thinks, you know, when I was younger, Samuel came to our farm and he anointed me with oil. I also got anointed. I never told you. It happened. And ever since that day, I've experienced how heaven gives me a special, I don't know, light, a special joy, a special strength. I get special insight. I get wisdom. I get understanding. I get favor. I get protection. I get provision. I get direction. I mean, I get it all from heaven. Every day I sense that. Imagine, if I kill the king, I'm sure I'd be killing my own anointing. I would be lost. I wouldn't succeed at anything. Just can't. Hang on. I got to go do something. And David just runs out. Wait here for me. I'll be back in a sec. He runs out the cave. Now, the king is busy there having his bite. Everybody's busy doing their thing. Nobody notices David even coming out of this cave. There's some bushes, trees, and he starts climbing the hill on the side here. Lots of trees and bushes, and he pulls his way up. He is fast, he is strong, and before you know it, he is at quite a height there, and there is an area where there's no trees, no bushes, where he can be seen. He stands there, and then he says, my Lord, King Saul, why do you listen to people who tell you I'm trying to harm you? They're wrong. Sir, my men told me to kill you. I could have. Back there in the cave, you were at my mercy, in my power, but I wouldn't. I said to them, I cannot harm the king. I'll never harm the king. He's the Lord's anointed one. My son, David, is that you? You're a better man than I am. You paid me good for evil. My Lord, look at what I have here in my hand. It's a piece of the hem of your cloak. I cut it off. I could have cut your life, but I didn't. I'm your faithful servant, my king. Always have been, always will be. Please, please, God knows I'm innocent of any crime. You have no good reason to chase after me like you're trying to kill me. I'm impressed. I'm shocked. You could have killed me, and you didn't. What man lets his enemy get away like that? Who's the king of the Hebrews trying to catch anyway? Sir, I'm just a shepherd, a poet. I'm a dreamer. You have nothing to fear from me. Sir, God knows I'm innocent of any crime. You clearly are the better man. And maybe one day you will be king in my place. And the kingdom will flourish under your rule. Now, swear to me by your God, if and when that happens, you'll not kill my entire family, not cut off my line of descendants. Sir, I swear I will never kill your family. Never. In that moment, a man arrives on a horse. Message for the king. Samuel the prophet has died, sir. The king turns to Abner. What does that mean? What do we do? Well, sir, that means there's going to be a funeral. Yes, a big funeral. All of the elders from all the tribes will come to Ramah, Samuel's hometown, for the funeral, sir. And I imagine you're going to have to officiate that funeral. It'd be a big day for the Hebrews. Samuel trips me up again. I suppose we're going to have to do that. Okay, well, let's pack up and go home. So the king and his commanders, his troops, they all turn around. 20 minutes later, they've all gone. David's men slowly come out of the cave, looking around. Yeah, the king and his soldiers are gone. They want to talk to David. So you wouldn't kill him. How come you wouldn't let us kill him? We should have killed him instead of you. No, says David. It's the same thing, really. I'm your leader. If one of you kills him, it's me. You know, how would I face Jonathan if we kill his father? He'd be the next king, and he'd be chasing after us. We'd be guilty of crime. Can't do it. Can't do it. You know, you're going to have to trust God that God's judgment will come to King Saul. I mean, he killed Ahimelech, the high priest, Abiathar's father. He killed all the priests of Nob. Do you think heaven has forgotten that? No. God's judgment will come to this man. You know, he'll die in the battlefield or he'll die in bed. God will take him. It's not going to go on forever. Really. Because so it means we're just running away from this king all the time. You know, we're beginning to run out of places to hide. What do you want to do? Yeah, you have a point there, says David. Maybe it's time for us to go to Moab or the Philistines. What? Oh, you can't do that. They're the enemy. They'll kill us as soon as we arrive. No, hang on now. The Philistines have their spies out, I imagine. They know by now that King Saul is trying to kill me and you all. You know, if Saul is our enemy, we are his enemy, well then we're on the same side as King Achish, for instance, King of Gath. Maybe he will let us in. You know, David's men are not thrilled about that idea. Yeah, go over to the enemy. My. But then David says something that really gets hold of him. How about we go there and we bring our wives and children there too? Maybe Achish would allow that. That would make a difference, wouldn't it? Yes, that's true. That'd be amazing. Wow. Instead of just running and running and running. You can't keep living like that. Okay, well, there's food for thought. We'll have to inquire of God through Abiathar at some point. Okay, maybe now is a good time to send some men to Carmel to speak to, Nabal, this man with these flocks. We helped him get all his flocks back home safely. I imagine the festival is coming up of the sheep shearing. He'll share some of his goods with us. That'd be great. Volunteers. David sends 20 of his men to Carmel. It's a bit of a journey. They get there a few hours later. They knock on Carmel's door. Sir, our master David sends us. We're the ones who've helped your shepherds get all of your flocks of sheep back to Carmel from En-Gedi. And, so now that the sheep shearing festival, you might share some goods with us. Our master said he would appreciate that very much. Thank you. Oh, you bunch of outlaws. You think I'm going to support your lifestyle while you're roaming the country, robbing people, making life unsafe for people? I'm going to report you to the king. Or he'll come after you and kill you all. Get off my land, you bunch of scum. Whoa, they never expected that. I mean, they really did Nabal a big favor. And this is how he's repaying their favor. So they go to David, report to David what Nabal has said. David gets so angry. You've never seen this angry so quickly. He says, get your swords. We're going to teach that man a lesson. Let's go. And before you know it, 200 men have joined David. They're on their way back to Carmel. They're going to teach Nabal a lesson. Whoa, what does that mean? Well, there was a servant there who overheard Nabal's insult to David's men, and he tells Nabal's wife, Abigail, and he says to her, that was really bad. They insulted these men so badly, and I know these men really helped us. I mean, boy, they helped us. There could be trouble. So Abigail realizes she's got to do some very quick thinking, quick action. She gets 3 donkeys. She loads them up with lots of food, meat, chicken meat, all kinds of meat, bread, buns, cakes, fruit, figs, nuts, the whole lot. She loads them up heavily and then sends them on the way with a few servants. Now, there's one road in, one road out. It's a valley. And she says, David will be on that road. If you see him, tell him this is for him. I'm coming. I'll follow you as soon as I can. She goes into the house. She does up her hair a little bit, a little makeup. She puts on some nice clothes. She runs down. She jumps on a donkey, and she's on her way too. And just when she catches up with the other donkeys, there's David and his men. Well, they had their swords in hand. And you can tell they're all fired up. Oh, they're ready to take action. They're just going to take their revenge, no doubt. So she slips off her donkey and she says, Sir, please, wait a sec. Please, forgive me. Please, I take responsibility. My husband, Nabal, he is just a rude, horrible man. He is stupid, sir. Please don't pay any attention to him. Please accept my gifts. These donkeys with all the goods, that's all for you, sir. I am sorry for what was done to you. You were a great help to us. Please accept my gift. Sir, if you continue your action and you're going to take your revenge, then you're going to just get a blood stain. You're going to stain your reputation. You're going to have a burden on your heart, on your conscience for what you've done here. Now, I believe one day you might be king over this whole land, and you don't want to be king and then have this thing on your conscience, what you're about to do here. Please, sir, calm down. Let it go. This is all for you. David stands there, amazed. Wow, this woman is just amazing. What she's done there is just outstanding. She has stopped him. All of a sudden, his anger is all gone. He puts his sword away. Men, put your swords away. All of a sudden, all that hyped up energy just disappears. My, she's right. We were about to take revenge, to kind of kill people, smash the place. Oh man, we would have been guilty of doing something that was wrong. My, and that would have weighed on my conscience indeed. David is a sensitive man in that respect. So he says, thank you. Thank you for stopping us. Thank you for your gift. I appreciate all that you do. I accept your apology. I accept your gift. And I thank you for stopping us. So David turns around. They take the donkeys and they're off. She goes back to the house. Well, it's the festival of the sheep shearing and the annual thing. And then there's a big party. Everybody gets drunk. And Nabal is totally drunk. So she can't speak to him. The next day, when he finally wakes up and he's kind of sober again, she tells him what happened, that David and 200 men, swords in hand, were just here outside the gate, ready to take revenge because of what Nabal had said to David's men. Wow, when Nabal hears this, he is so shocked. He's so shocked that he has a stroke. He just falls over and he barely hangs on to life. Scripture tells us 10 days later, he's dead. When David hears about this, he says to his men, look, there's God's judgment. I'm so glad Abigail stopped us from taking our own revenge. Here God has come in with his judgment because this man insulted us. Wow. And then David sent some of his men back to Carmel, to Abigail, to ask her, would she marry him, David? And she accepts gladly. Wow. So she packs some of her gear and she takes 5 servant girls with her and she joins David's men and they go back to where David is. He's now hiding in the wilderness of Maon. And there they have a wedding. This is what we read in Scripture. It doesn't say exactly what and how. I imagine they found a beautiful place, maybe on some high rocks, or maybe by a river, or maybe on a beautiful hill. They had a fantastic day. I imagine she had 5 bridesmaids, and David had 5 men on his side, and it was just a fantastic day with 600 guests. Yes, David's men. Slightly male-dominated party, but a good party all the same. And then over the next few days, David speaks to his new wife, and he says, "Oh, I wish I could give you a home. All of a sudden, I want a home for you and for us." She says, "Oh, don't worry. I'll rough it with you. Yes, being on the run is rough, but we'll rough it out and God will make a way." David says, "Yeah, maybe it is time to go to Moab. I'm not sure. I wish I could just take you to Bethlehem, my family farm. We'd build an extra house. It'd be wonderful." So what is there to stop us? Well, King Saul. Thing is, we haven't heard from him in like 2 weeks. Maybe he's given up on his chase. Maybe he'll let us live. So what do we do to find out? We got to put him to the test. David wants to put Saul to the test, and he has a plan. He says, "Okay, men, we're going to go back to Ziph, wilderness of Ziph. Isn't that the place where the men of Ziph betrayed us to King Saul?" "Oh, yes, indeed. It's part of the plan." So they find themselves a good hiding spot, and before soon the men of Ziph have seen some of David's guys, and so the word goes to Saul. Well, Saul jumps on his horse. "After we're going," and the whole of the army, 3,000 soldiers, head for Ziph. Now, the town of Ziph lies before the wilderness and in the hills there. And Saul speaks to the elders. "Well, men, I hear you spotted David. Now, there's a few hiding places. I trust you know them all. So over the next few days, you can show us all these hiding places. We're going to go to work systematically. We're going to find that son of Jesse. Finally, I can feel it. 1 or 2 more days, and I've got him. I can get him out of the way for good." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Now, it's kind of late in the day, so the king decides we're going to just set up camp right here. There's nice grass here. We can sleep here for the night. First light, we're going to get up and go to work. So the layout is here. The town is here in the hills. And then there's this alleyway, as it were, a sort of a tunnel or a leeway with a rock facade on this side and a rock facade over there. And it's kind of a pass into the wilderness of Ziph. And there's grass down here. So the king says, "Hey, let's set up camp here. No tents. Everybody just sleep in the grass. That should be fine." Now, David and his men are up there on that rock facade, very top there. And in the middle of the night, they come and take a look. They can see the king there. Look, there's the king. Or Abner, yes. And all these soldiers in a circle around him, of course, for protection. And look, there's other soldiers standing guard, and over there and over there. Yes, okay. And David just waits. And then, at like 3 or 4 in the night, David and one of his men, Abishai, they climb down. There's a place where there's steps, and you can climb from the higher level to the lower. And now they're on the level of the grass where the king is. And they can see the king over there. And there they can see the javelin, the king's javelin, standing in the ground right next to him, and his water jug. And Abishai says to David, "David, if you let me, I'll take that javelin, and I'll just pierce him with it. I'll just stick him to the ground. 1 blow, he'll be dead." No. We're just getting the javelin and the water jug, and then we're out of here. So they go in. Soldiers have fallen asleep. Everybody is asleep. They take the javelin, they take the water jug, and they're out of there. They climb all the way back up to the height there, and then they walk across, and at first light in the morning, David raises his voice. "Abner! Abner, wake up! Abner, you're a great man, aren't you? Where in all Israel is there a man as mighty as you? Well, Abner, if you're such a great man, why didn't you protect the king when someone slipped into the camp in the night to kill him? Abner is in a shock. He was sleeping. He jumps to his feet. He's like, what? Someone came to kill the king? Is the king dead? No, Abner. No, I'm not dead. I'm here, Abner. I'm here. Oh, at that point, David up there, he shouts, Abner, where is the king's javelin? Where is his water jug? Abner goes, where's the javelin? Where's the water jug? Soldiers, where did you put the javelin? Not here, sir. No, we didn't take it. Where's the javelin? Then Abner looks up and he sees David there. The king has scrambled to his feet. He's waking up. David, is that you, my son? Yes, my lord. Look what I have in my hand. Your javelin, your water jug. I could have killed you again, but I didn't. Sir, why are you chasing me? What have I done? What is my crime? Why are you hunting me down like a partridge in the mountain? I'm an innocent man. I suppose you are innocent. You've proven yourself again the better man. You valued my life in the night, and I'm humbled. Why don't you come home with me to Gibeah? I promise I'll be kind to you. David! Then Abner speaks to the king. Sir, I think he's gone. Now, sir, if I send soldiers that way, we should be able to catch him. He can't be far. No, Abner, no. I think it's time I stop chasing after him. He clearly is the better man, isn't he? He's proven himself again. The better man, like Samuel said. Don't you think? No, sir, he's not the better man. He's just a nuisance. He's a fox. We should get him out of the way. Kill him. Abner, please. Abner, your soldiers didn't even protect me in the night. Abner, they could have killed me. Were they all asleep? What's the matter with the army, Abner? Oh, sir, I don't know. I'll have to double check on this. Abner, I've had enough. Let's go home. So, the king is off. He goes back to Gibeah, army all gone. David and his men now have to make a choice. Men, I don't think the king is ever going to stop chasing me. You know, he'll keep coming after us. We are running out of places to hide. Why don't we ask Abiathar for a word? And then we go to Moab or the Philistines. I think it's going to be the Philistines. Well, this time the men are willing to consider it. So Abiathar is brought in. The question goes up, will we be received friendly by Achish, king of Gath? The answer comes back, yes, he will receive you friendly. Wow. Are you willing to believe that, men? Yes, they are willing to trust that word. Okay, well then, that's it. We're going to go. So they pack their bags and they travel across Judah. They go into Philistia. Then David keeps his men in the woods because he wants to go and speak to Achish by himself. So he approaches the city. The gates are open. He walks in. He knocks on the castle's door. Someone answers, and he identifies himself as he is. I'm David, commander of Saul's army. I'm the son-in-law of King Saul, and I'm here to speak to King Achish. Wow, that's a brave thing to do. So he's invited in. He's taken into a room, and not much later, Achish appears. Prince David, son-in-law of King Saul, my arch-enemy, top commander in the Hebrew army. You've come to visit me. What an honor. You're a brave man. Do you think that I've forgotten how you killed my giant, my champion Goliath a few years ago. No, you really spoiled things for us. That was a bad day. Well, you've given me a great chance to have a little revenge. What do you think? Why do you think you're going to be safe here? Sir, with respect, but I think alive I'm worth more to you than dead. I can help you, and my men, together, we can help you. Huh, that sounds interesting. Right, your men, eh? Where are your men? Well, they're out there, sir, in hiding and waiting for a signal from me. I see. How many men do you have? About 600, sir. They're excellent men. They're good fighters. I can vouch for that. We should be an excellent fighting force for you, sir, if you want to put us to use. Oh, interesting. Oh, well, let's give it a go. Okay, you go get your men. I'll make sure there's some room there in the barracks. And then once you've settled, we'll pick things up from there. So, not bad. There is a start. David is still alive. So he goes into the woods, he gets his men, brings them into Gath. They go to the barracks. Yes, they're being expected. And so the men go into the barracks, and there is a place for them. And so they can settle there at least for the night. Trouble is, little room here. It's very tight. And sort of right next door, there's Philistine soldiers, and over there, there's Philistine soldiers are everywhere. And the Hebrews don't get on very well with the Philistines. I mean, these guys, whoa, there could be fights there. It's not brilliant. And David's men, they want to go hunt for their dinner. Well, what are you going to do here? We don't have money to buy food at the market. They don't like it. So David asks for another audience with King Achish, and he's given that. So, yes, what do I hear? There's some questions. You have some things you want? Sir, with respect, thank you for seeing me again. But, our men, we are used to being in the outdoors. We're hunters. Some of us fish, and this is how we feed ourselves. You're there in the barracks. We're rather cramped, sir, and there's other soldiers, the people of Gath. It's a busy city. Would you mind if you might have a space outdoors for us? That'd be so much better. And how do I know that you're not going to misbehave there? You're not going to steal people's animals. You're not going to abuse the local women. This kind of thing, I could easily see that happen. Sir, my men are very disciplined. They do what I tell them to do, and I vouch they will not engage in such activities. Sir, we stay together, us men, and that's it. Please, you might have a place for us. Okay, I'll give it a try. But if it goes wrong, if you break your word, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. So King Achish gives David and his men a town called Ziklag, which is about 10 miles to the south. Well, when they get there, they are delighted. I mean, plenty of room. The woods are out here, perfect for hunting. There's a river, great for fishing. I mean, all this space that they have to themselves, they are delighted. It couldn't be any better. So these men start building, a base, places to sleep and places to sit and places to cook and all the rest of it. They love it. They've never been able to do this in years. They've been on the run, on the run, on the run. Now they can settle. No more fear of being attacked and all this. And then David takes a few of them, a good bunch of them, on a raiding party to the south, to Amalek. The Amalekites are the enemies of the Hebrews. And so they go there and they steal a bunch of sheep and goats and donkeys and harvest all kinds of things. And they come back and that's how they kind of set up their base and they grow. And the men are beginning to dream about bringing their wives and children here. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Now, David is summoned to Achish's castle. Achish wants to keep a close eye on this David. Mr. Jesse's son, I hear, my spies tell me, you are doing these raiding parties. You're stealing sheep, all kinds, goats and harvest. Where do you go? Who do you raid? Sir, the enemy, of course, the Hebrews. Finally, we have a way of getting back at them. I mean, they have hit us hard for years. King Saul has tried to kill me for years. Now, finally, I get to do something back at him. So we go into Hebrew villages. We've been going into villages in Judah. Yeah, I mean, plenty there. We can do a whole lot more damage there. And we look forward to it. Achish thinks, wow, he's raiding his own people. Wow, that's good. These Hebrews must hate him by now. Oh, he'll never be able to go back there. He'll be working for me for the rest of his days. Excellent. Now, sir, while I'm here, with respect to, I have a request, may I? Yes, you may. What is it you want? My men would like to bring their wives and children, their families, into our camp. Would that be allowed? Oh, well, that would make things a little more permanent, wouldn't it? Well, sir, yes. I mean, we have no plans of going anywhere. We'll be very happy to stay here for as long as you allow us, if you would. Okay. Well, all right, let's give that a go too. And then there is something that I want you and your men to do for me. And that is, you're going to be my bodyguards. Sir, we should be delighted to be your bodyguards. When would you like us to start? We'll start tomorrow morning. Come to the West Gate, 8 o'clock. I'll see you there. Wow, this is good. Things are happening. David is now going to actually work for the king. His men love it. And I tell you, the king is impressed with David's men. They're good fighters. They're sharp. They work well together. They listen well. They're brilliant. And the king is very pleased with his new security detail here. Now, the king is having a get-together with other kings of the Philistines. There's 5 or 6 of them, all these cities here on the coastline. Every city has its own king. Every city has an army. And these kings get together, discuss this and the other. And this time around, they decide they're going to go to war against King Saul. Yeah, they've had enough. This King Saul is pushing into our borders constantly. This King Saul, who does he think he is? I mean, he's some sort of big shot pushing up against us all the time. Well, we got to deal with that. Before Saul was king, they didn't have a king. They had a prophet. That was so much better. Things were wonderfully disorganized in those days. We could just help ourselves and no problem. Now King Saul is at us all the time. So these kings decide to bring all their armies together, including reserves. They want to build a huge army and then just destroy that Hebrew army and destroy the king and his whole family, because then the Hebrews will have to go back to having a prophet much better. After all, these Philistines have their cities here, but the cities are full of people. They want to build new cities. They got nowhere to put those cities apart from over there where these Hebrews are. Well, that land was ours to begin with. We were here before they got here. Let's get rid of them. They're going to push the Hebrews right eastward toward the desert in the east. Get rid of them, take their land. That is our future. Excellent. Well, after these discussions, they've set a date for the armies to come together and to cross the border into Hebrew territory, fight King Saul. Achish decides to pay a visit to Ziklag and see David's camp there and just get an idea of what they're doing there. And wives and children are beginning to arrive. Okay, well, that all looks pretty good, pretty good. And Achish speaks to David and says, okay, we're going to have this battle. You and your men are going to join me. You can protect me. Well, when David hears of this, he wants to show Achish how strong he is against King Saul. Oh, sir, perhaps you could put us in the front line. That would be even better. We'll show you what we can do. We can cause some serious damage to these Hebrews. I would love to fight King Saul myself. I will just kill him. Sir, please, put us in the front line. Hang on. No, you're not in the front line. The other kings take care of that. You are with me. You are my security. You are my bodyguards, and we stay at the back of the army, and that's where you'll be staying too. Okay, sir, okay, but maybe there'll be a chance. Please, we're ready for it. Okay. David knows how to play the game. Well, in Gibeah, King Saul learns that the Philistines are building an army in the north there, in Shuman. not too far from Gilboa. How come I didn't hear earlier about this, Abner? I mean, they've already been building a huge army there. Only just now we hear about it. I'm so sorry, sir. We have few spies up there. I don't know why they picked that remote place up in the north, but well, we'll try our best to get an army together, sir, and we'll put the word out and we'll go to work. We'll be ready when the time comes. Okay, Saul is not pleased. So he sends Abner to the north to a place called Gilboa and to take the standing army there to prepare a camp and all this. And the word goes out to men in all the tribal areas of the Hebrew land, come to Gilboa to be part of the king's army. And every man who signs up gets a whole year free of tax. You pay no tax for a whole year. Well, that is a pretty good deal. A lot of men respond to this, and they begin to make their way to Gilboa. So, when the time comes, the king makes his way there too. He inspects the army. Yes, everything is going well. Tents have been set up, provisions, armor, weapons, all kinds of things. Every volunteer who arrives is given instruction, given a weapon, given a group. Abner has shaped it all, and the Hebrew army is taking good shape. Well done, Abner. It's looking good. Okay. Now, Abner, is something I want to do. The king wants to take a look at the Philistine camp, just to get an impression of what they're doing there and, how many there are. Sir, but you realize that is in Philistine territory. Yeah, but, we could sneak up on them. This side of the hill, just look in for a sec. Okay, so we can do that. So they get on some horses. The king and Abner and a few commanders, they make their way through the bushes. Then they push into Philistine territory. Then they get off their horses and they walk for another couple hundred yards, pushing through the bushes and the trees. And then they're at the top of the hill, and just there they can look over the hill through the trees to see the Philistine army. And it is immensely large. My God, Abner. I mean, there's no end to it. Look at that army. They have pulled together like 500,000 people. This is just beyond belief. So the king makes his way back to his camp. He knows he's got a big problem. He goes into his tent. He wants to see his priests. Priests, I need a word from heaven. I need some instruction, some word. Now, there's a priest who can get a word from heaven after putting a question to heaven and an answer comes back. There's a priest who might get a dream. He's able to just see a dream and images, and he speaks of that may be an instruction from heaven. There's another priest who's good with words, and he can prophesy, speak words of wisdom, and something will come out that could be a message from heaven. Okay, men of God, just go to work, please. Get on with it. I need a word. But nothing comes back. Sir, no, not yet. Well, try again. Try a little harder. Please, I got to have something. Well, nothing comes. Nothing at all. Saul is desperate. So he calls over Abner. Abner, I need to see a woman who can connect with the spirit of the dead. Sir, haven't you forbidden that? Yes, I know, but don't worry about that. I gotta see a woman like that. I gotta speak to Samuel. But Sir, Samuel has just died, hasn't he? Yeah, exactly. You see why? Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Whoa, so Abner is off. He's gonna find someone who can do this. In the meantime, David and his men have made their way from Ziklag all the way to Shuman. Now, that's a long distance. They don't have 600 horses. They only have a few horses. So those horses pull carts with all their gear, their equipment, their weapons, the rest, the lot. And it takes them a full day to kind of walk, run, all the way to Shuman. And when they get there, David reports to King Achish, "Sir, we're here, ready for action. Where would you like us to be? What can we do for you?" So Achish gives them his instructions. The battle is tomorrow, and you can go over there, set up your camp, whatever, for the night, and then first light will be getting ready for the big battle. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So David and his men are doing that. They are unpacking their stuff. They've got some little this and that and covers, and they are going to sit down and have some to eat and build a little fire and stuff. Then all of a sudden, some of the other kings have spotted these Hebrews over there. Who are they? What are they doing here? Isn't that King Saul's son-in-law? Isn't that that guy, what's his name, David? He's a commander in the Hebrew army. I mean, he's married the king's daughter. Isn't he the one that the women there over there in the Hebrew land, they sing he's killed his tens of thousands? Well, we're not going to have him here in the battle and his Hebrew soldiers. Achish tries to defend his bodyguard. Oh, well, they're very good. You can trust them, and they want to kill Saul. Saul wants to kill them. Don't trust me. It'll be fine. They're fantastic. Well, the Philistine kings are just not having it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's not going to be. I mean, he could turn against her right in the middle of the battle, couldn't he? Be a great way of getting into favor with his father-in-law. Okay, so Achish has to just go and speak to David. Really sorry, but my colleague kings will not have it. You can't be part of this. You're going to have to go home first thing in the morning. But sir, who's been telling lies about us? We've been looking forward to this opportunity. I can't wait to fight this King Saul myself. I'm still hoping you send us to the front line. Sir, we've been looking forward to this. We've traveled the entire day. We are ready for action. Please, sir, you can't just put us out now. Yes, I can and I will. Please calm down. This is an order. First thing in the morning, you and your men go back to Ziklag. Is that understood? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But David knows how to play the part. In his heart, he's relieved, very relieved, that he doesn't have to fight his Hebrew brothers and Jonathan, his best friend, King Saul, the anointed of God. So, now Saul, in the meantime, is taken by Abner to a place called Endor. It's a little village in the area. There's a woman there, sir. I think she can do what you want. She'll give you what you need. They knock on her door. She opens up a little bit. Abner offers her money. She takes the money. She takes a look. Oh, that's good money. Okay. She opens the door a little further. Come on in. Yes, you gentlemen, you can sit here. Now, the king is wearing sort of casual clothes, civilian clothes. She doesn't recognize that this is King Saul. Same for Abner. He's just two ordinary men with beards. So she says, okay, what can I do for you, sir? Well, I need to speak to a man who's dead. Don't you know that King Saul has strictly forbidden any contact, any communication with the spirits of the dead, sir? Are you trying to get me killed? No. I really need to speak to such a person. Look, here's some more money. And King Saul gives her a little more money. She looks at it. That looks good. So she takes it, puts it away. Oh, all right then. Who do you want to speak to, sir? Samuel, the prophet. Oh, that's a big spirit, sir. Yes, I know. So she starts doing her work. Sort of a seance. She's kind of making noises. She's got some incense going, and she's making more noises, and she's, and she gets louder, and then she's kind of rolling her eyes all the way back, and she's going wilder and wilder. And there comes a point where she's kind of screaming, boy, big show. And then she calms down, and she begins to sort of see something. What do you see? I see a spirit coming up out of the spirit realm. Is that him? Is that Samuel? I don't know. What does he look like? Well, he's wearing a priestly robe, gray hair. His face is very fierce face. His eyes are stern. Oh yes, that's him. That's him. What do you say? Huh? What's going on? He's saying something. What? Saul? King Saul? Here? You are King Saul. Samuel just told me. You're the king. You're going to kill me. No, woman. Of course not. Stay with Samuel. I need to speak to him. Don't lose him now. Don't lose him. Samuel. King Saul wants to speak to you. Why would he disturb me? I don't like it. Saul, King, why don't you speak to him directly? Tell him what you want. Samuel, I'm in big trouble. Samuel, I need your help. Please, you're my last hope. I'm nobody's last hope. What do you want? Samuel, the Philistines are coming against me with a massive army. Oh, Samuel, 3 times the size of our army. Now, I've tried to get a word from heaven, but nothing has come through. We've been at it for an hour. Samuel, please, you've got to get me some instruction. What do I do tomorrow in the battle? You think I'm going to give you some magical way out of your trouble? No, Saul. You turned your back on God years ago. You stopped listening to him. Are you surprised he stopped speaking to you? Then you killed Ahimelech, the high priest. You killed all the priests of Nob. Well, you sealed your fate on that day, Saul. Tomorrow, you and your sons will die in battle, on the battlefield, and the Hebrews will suffer a terrible defeat at the hands of the Philistines. Now, I gotta go. Samuel, please, Samuel. I think he's gone, sir. He's gone. Now, Scripture tells us Saul is so upset, he's so shaken that he falls on the floor. He's not eaten all day. So the woman goes to her kitchen. She gets some food items, some bits of bread and some bits of meat and cheese, and she brings it to the king. She sits there on the floor with him, and she feeds him some bits of food and something to drink. And slowly the king gathers some energy. Eventually he gets up and he's out the door. He's got to go back to his army. Big day tomorrow. So he manages to sleep for a few hours. Then even before first light, he's already up. His sons are up too, 3 sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. They put on their armor, their special battle gear. They take an hour to get dressed. They have assistants, protective gear, their helmets, everything. Then they strap on their weapons, their swords, their daggers. They all have their own armor bearer who has javelins and a shield and spare weapons, spare swords and all that sort. Then they come out of their tents, they get on their horses, and they go to where the army is waiting. The army stands there, all in groups ready to march to the battlefield. And then the king heads up his troops. They march to what's called Mount Gilboa, ready for battle. The Philistines have done the same thing. There they are. They've marched onto this wide field, and these armies stand opposite one another, looking at each other. Now, the Philistine army is much larger than the Hebrew army, but the Philistines know that the Hebrews have a God who sometimes does unexpected things. And in the past, the Hebrews have taken the victory on occasion when their army was much smaller. So the Philistines are nervous. They don't like having to fight the Hebrews. Well, the Hebrews are nervous because they got a huge army opposite them. It's going to be an intense battle. Well, how that goes, I'll tell you next time.